Hello everybody, welcome back to my tutorial on how to build a digital clock on Minecraft. And if you didn't see the last video, I suggest you click on it, but all we did was build a display unit to display any numbers 0 through 9. And now basically what we have to do is, well, make it count. Go from 0 to 9. How are we going to do that? Well, you're going to find out in just a second. First off, let's destroy all these levers. Okay, and we're going to have to invert it real quick, because when we build our counter, which is what we will be using to make a count, thus the name counter, we are going to need an inversion overall, so go ahead and put torches along a block, and it has the same exact effect as it did, it was just inverted. And we're going to need our outputs to be here for our counter. We're going to have to dig down a block and then put a row of torches. And then we will be ready to start our counter. But I'm going to make this as big as I know it needs to be because I've done this many times before. For this we will be using a pretty standard unidirectional ring counter. I'll post a tutorial vid or something if you guys need it, if you just ask for it. I mean, I'm going to show you now, but if you need extra help, of course, I'll show you the original maker and all that hoopla. I'm going to go ahead and put this block piston here, regular piston, and a piston here. And then put a piston right next to that, and right there. Now we got to wire these two together, so I'm going to put a repeater there and there, as well as redstone in between, like that. And that's all we gotta do for the first part. This one, I'm gonna put some blocks there, draw a line up to the second one, make sure it does not interfere with this one, and put down two repeaters there, like so. Now we can connect them, and we're gonna need some glass. You need regular glass blocks for this. Put them one block away from the two ends of the repeaters, so there should be a gap like this. So these two ends should be open, and then that's where we're going to put two solid blocks. Make sure they are on opposite sides. We're going to put one over this, which will display a 0 unit, and then if it's on this side, this one has to be on the opposite side. Make sure that's very important or it will not count right. See how that one's on this end, this one is on the opposite corner. Now, like I said, this is on the 0 unit, and so it's going to display a 0. But when it counts up to 1, it'll display a 1, then a 2, and like any basic counter. Okay, now what we need to do is build a pulse limiter, which is very simple. Go ahead and put torches on opposite ends like this. Put this one all the way up here to turn off this one. Make sure it connects to this whole contraption you just made. And then put a repeater to the 3 ticks, delay. And this will be our input. And we can go ahead and test it out. That's pretty much all this part is. Click it once. Oops. And it's displaying a 1. I'm just changing my reach distance a little bit. Make it a little bit longer, reach 20. I'm using single player commands, by the way. Press it again, it goes to a 2. Press it again, goes to a 3. And so on and so forth. I'm going to go all the way just to prove to you that it will work. This is our 8. There's our 9. And now, since this is a resettable device, it'll go back down to 0. Perfect. And so we have our basic first digit completely done. Now gets to, I wouldn't say more complicated, but I guess kind of more complicated. Well, I'm going to build a very small clock. Not the kind of clock that we're building, but a just simple redstone clock that'll just go in a circle the whole time. And connect that output to where our pulse limiter would be. But I'm going to build its own separate pulse limiter. I'm going to use a different style because I feel like switching it up. Just to make sure that every time I click this pulse limiter, it'll give a good, exact output. Sorry, I messed that up. Repeater goes here. There we go. Okay, so what this basic clock will do is simply make a 1 pulse every second. This isn't exactly a second, but I'm not going to worry about that yet because this is just kind of for show. And I click it. 3, 4, 5. Obviously there's a little bit of lag. I'm using Camtasia and it's not the greatest program in the world. But as you see, it's working good. Goes back to 0. Pretty simple. Okay. So that's pretty much it for 1 digit. Now I'm just going to briefly explain to you and then show you how to add more digits. To add more digits, well, all you have to do is repeat this exact design. However, let me show you what you need to do separate. I'm going to go ahead and make this exact copy. Okay, so there's our second digit. Now all you have to do is go way back here and over here, except do not make the curves that you would normally, you know how we went down 2 blocks at the beginning of this? Do not do that yet. First extend each one to the length of this one. So now that it reached here and here, sorry. Let's go ahead and do it for all of them just to show you. And you are going to put redstone along all of these, and then you're going to do this exact same thing, except at the end of these. So right here, I would make these all go into one line, like before, except it's a lot longer overall. And I would just do the same thing. I'm not going to show me building the whole thing again because you just witnessed it. And then once you finish building this again over here, you'd hook up the exact same clock, except you wouldn't need 10 digits like I made here. You'd only need 5, because it's only 60 seconds, and so it only has to go up to 5, and by the time it gets to 59, it goes back down to 0. It doesn't actually go to 60. And so you'd make a 5-digit clock, as I will show you momentarily. Okay, everybody, I am back, and I am with my full finished clock version that I had before. And as you can see, here's the clock that we just made with our repeater clock, all of this into our basic unit. And over here, if you go to the right, you'll see what I meant by a 5-digit clock. When I said 5, I actually meant 6, sorry, because I forgot about the 0. So you actually do need 6 digits, and it's not as big as this one, as you can easily tell. Now ignore all this for a second, because this will be for adding more stuff. And I'm not going to actually build it for you because it's pretty self-explanatory. How are we going to make this count right now we only have this one counting. Remember we had to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How are we going to make this go every 10 seconds? Well, I'm not going to make another clock like this that goes every 10 seconds. Instead, what I can do is make that every time this is at the 0 output, so right now it's on 0, as you see, I can make it activate this clock. So when it goes from 0, and it'll be on 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and when it resets to 0, this will go to 1. And so then it'll be displaying a 10 overall. And then, after it goes all through again, it'll reset back to 0, and it'll make this count to 2, and then it'll be to 2. And then go again, it'll be 3, and then 4, and then 5. And so to do that, it's very simple. Simply take this inverted torch, put a block above it, and make a redstone line, go all the way over. Make sure you invert it, because by using the power from this torch, it's getting inverted as it is. So invert it once more by putting a block, making it go into a block that has a torch on the end. And then have it going into its own pulse limiter, and then its own 6-digit clock. And then the same concept that you had, except 6 digits. So that's pretty much all you have to do. That's my clock design. I know, obviously, look at this monster. It's very unpractical, to be honest. This is my first design. It's more of just, it's a very simple thing to understand. It's not the greatest for actually fitting into a small space. That's what she said. But, okay. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, I know the ending might not have been perfectly clear, but I'm assuming most of you have, pretty decent redstone knowledge. But if you're not as pro as some others might be, go ahead and leave a question. I'm not the greatest either, so I'll try my best to answer them. Alright, thank you guys for watching. I will see you later.